Hey everyone, it's been a while since I've been on. I wanted to use Facebook as therapy. I don't know if any of you guys do that. I find it helpful. At least it gets it off my chest. And it helps people become informed about some of the actions that some of us are doing. I got to tell you guys, if you haven't seen the video that Ammon Bundy posted about Governor Little, I would encourage you to watch it. Apparently it's not downloadable by any source that I can download it. But I think it's important to understand. I think it's important to share. Because as I understand it, Brad Little is openly coming out saying that he never locked down the state of Idaho. And his videos prove through a variety of articles through KTVB that he actually did. Then I called the governor's office just now, as righteously indignant as I am, and they decided to argue with me. I called them and they said, hey, what do you want? What do you want? They weren't even nice about it. It's like they don't even want to sit. They don't even want to hear from us, right? So I talked to him. I said, listen, I said, I got a video. I said, I want to know if you can tell me if Brad Little locked down the state of Idaho. You know what the governor's office said? The governor's office said, yes, they did. They openly said, yes, they did. Well, as far as I can tell, and I might be a little bit challenged here, but it seems to me that in some of the election stuff that I've heard, Brad Little said that he never did. So if Brad Little says that he never locked down the state of Idaho, and the governor's office said that he did, we have a bit of a discrepancy. That's only the first part. The next part is when I decided to, as I was getting frustrated, because she was antagonizing me on the phone. This lady was antagonizing me on the phone. I said, look, I'm not here to argue with you. But I want to know why we have video that shows through articles from video portions of KTVB that says that Brad Little locked down the state of Idaho. And then his campaign stuff. Am I right? I mean, am I missing the point here? Tell me if I'm wrong. I'll go ahead and strip the video or apologize or whatever. But it seems like we have a major discrepancy here. We have the governor says, well, I really didn't lock down the state of Idaho. I really didn't lock down the state of Idaho. He either locked the state of Idaho down or he didn't, okay? And so the government likes to appeal to the ignorant, right? They like to think that we're so overwhelmed that we can't think straight and we can't do this and that or the other. All I know is that you had a governor that locked down the state of Idaho through an executive order because he says he followed the science that actually came from the CDC, which is unconstitutional federal bureaucracy in the first place that is doing anything else but follow the science. We've openly proven it. We have the right to be frustrated about it. And the one thing is that we keep getting fed this garbage that comes from the governor's office. You know what the lady said? Well, you're right. The state of Idaho was partially locked down. It's like, partially locked down? Why am I worried about splitting hairs? They either had the lawful authority to lock down the state of Idaho or they didn't, number one. It isn't a question of degree. Is she trying to tell me, oh, well, she actually said, she goes, well, California ended up fully locking down. It's like, should I be happy because in the name of true Idaho conservatism and the Republican establishmentarianism that Brad Little supports, that somehow I should be thankful that we were locked down to a lesser degree than California? Well, gee, on that note, we might as well say, well, gosh, our freedom is under jeopardy here, but we should really thank God and Brad Little that we're not like North Korea or communist China. Is that how freedom works? Hardly. So I call the governor's office back, right? And I was just indignant. I didn't cuss. I was frustrated. I said, you know what? You work for me. You have the lawful authority to listen to me. She wanted to argue with me and say, well, I know the law, sir. I don't need to argue with you. And you know what? I think I'm going to hang up now. You're going to hang up on me now. You work for me. She thinks she knows the law. So an unconstitutional order, an unconstitutional order is lawful. Anything that the legislature passes is lawful. Any ordinance or guidelines that any federal or local bureaucracy dictates is now law. And somehow we have people that are going to vote for Brad Little because they're too scared to vote for somebody that might just give your freedom back to you. I am openly sick of what I'm seeing. Openly. I'm openly frustrated with my government. I'm openly frustrated with the governor's office. If you want to call me anti-government, go ahead. But you know what? Let me ask you something. What government should we accept that continues to kick the can down the road in the name of globalism while taxing people to death, removing them from their private property, locking them down, and arresting them, and having us brainwashed to believe, well, gosh, at least we're not like California. So I forgot to tell you. So the second time I called, the first time I called him, there was an older lady. She hung up on me. She decided to argue with me. The next lady was younger. She was nice. And I told her so. And she listened to me. She said that she was going to forward me and forward the message to somebody that would help me. And then, of course, she hung up, but she probably got a little bit, anxious. So I called back, third time. So I called back, and this was the first lady. And she decided that she didn't want to listen to me again. And I got to tell you guys, the lady that's answering the phone wasn't even elected. She's not elected. She works in the governor's office. She's paid for by you. And when you call her, if you're not speaking rainbows and bubblegum, she will freaking hang up on you. To the point where you have to ask them, well, what do I need to do? Show up? Oh, wait. If we decided to show up at the governor's office, they're probably going to tell me, well, I'm sorry, sir. Do you have an appointment? What, you press the button, right? Since we're all locked out now, right? Do you have an appointment? Well, you better go home until you find one. Our government is rogue, and I can't talk. The frustration that I felt this morning was over the top. Nothing I said was illegal. I wasn't rude except for raising my voice when I was antagonized by somebody saying that they didn't need to hear my concerns. And I wanted to make sure he knew about it. So if you get that video, I want you to share it with other people. I think it's on Ammon Bundy for Governor page. I saw it on his Facebook page. Commend him for that video because he's openly exposing the corruption of Brad Little. Make sure you share that video. Make sure you call the governor's office. Make sure that you talk to those ladies and you tell them exactly how you feel. Or you got to remember that you have a right to do it. If you happen to be angry, the Bible says just don't sin in your anger. And I tried like hell not to. I even recorded the latter part of the conversation. But we're up against an election, you guys, in November that's literally going to change the course of Idaho. And I believe wholeheartedly from the things that I've seen, we really only have one choice to be able to make this right. And as much as I really don't like endorsing candidates, and I'm still going to say that I don't, when you're viewing apples and oranges, it should be easy to tell which one's an apple and which one's an orange without telling you which fruit I would choose. Ammon Bundy is a fruit. Brad Little is a fruit, although a little bit more wrinkly. The choice is clear. The positions are there. You either want liberty and you want people you want elected officials to be able to act like elected officials. And you want them to be able to give you your freedom back that's rightfully yours. Or in the name of fear, or the fact that you just don't believe that he can win. I believe the reason why somebody can't win is because too many people are too fearful of voting for the person that they know that they need to because they don't think they'll win. One last thought about this is that if you say, well, Tom, we can't vote for this person because if we do, then a Democrat will be in office. And although I do fear that too, What's the difference, really, when the Democrats are supporting the Republicans? The Republican establishment acts more like the Democrats and now openly aligns with them and now is openly endorsing them, I've heard. Other than the speed of which we get, other than the speed to the destination where we're going. If socialism and hardcore totalitarianism is where we're going, I would argue whether it's actually beneficial to wait or hurry up and get there. What I would venture to say to you is that I'm not necessarily as worried about the Democrats because they're openly honest about what they want. What bothers me is the fact that people are under this delusion that if they vote Republican, somehow they're going to get their freedom back, and they won't. There's evidence of this. Brad Little is a communist sympathizer in my view. He's aligned with the CCP. He supports climate change. He supports the fact that his executive orders are somehow law. He has a problem with the hierarchy of law, with the lieutenant governor making decisions, which has openly been proven, which shows that he's a tyrant, at least in my view, and according to what I can read about history. So I would strongly encourage you guys to be able to really consider where you are. Share the video, listen to the video, compare it to Brad Little's radio ads, some of the things that he's saying, and make sure that that video gets in the hands of everybody that believes in supporting Little. Because if we do, climate change is right around the corner. The other thing I wanted to mention to you today, for those of you that understand about the Great Reset or want to know more about the Great Reset, is that I have Alex Newman, the senior editor for the New American Magazine, coming to speak to Idaho Independence Indoor Shooting on Friday, October 21st at 7 p.m. You guys can look up the address, but I'm hoping you'll join us. What you're going to find out more about the Great Reset if you don't know it already, in a way that you've never heard it. I would encourage you to bring other people. The Great Reset, of course, includes, for those of you who don't know, Agenda 21, Agenda 2030, and Biden's infamous Build Back Better. So I hope you guys will join me. I hope you guys will continue to stay in the fight. For those that are just stepping into the fight, we welcome you, and we encourage you to become way more active. And so I'm hoping that you guys will join me, see what's clear. The choices are not Republican and Democrat. The choice is freedom or tyranny. And so I appreciate you guys for watching. Thank you.